everyone, and welcome to Hunter Garage, a Hunter the Reckoning Chronicle. Today marks the beginning of our story, and some stories begin with ends. An ending can sometimes be the beginning. Sometimes it's the end of the lives that you know. The beginning of something brand new, much bigger, much more dangerous. The beginning of a new path you're taking. The beginning of an investigation and trying to solve it. But the end that we are marking today may not be just the end of your lives as it is. So maybe it won't be at all. It is definitely, though, the end of the day. Today was maybe eventful for you, maybe not, but one thing that happened to all of you is the Discord conversation with Kendra, the one that we've experienced on our session 0. You all wrap up for the day, at probably different hours, but it's dark outside already. And let us start with Miles. Miles, could you tell us, how does your room look like, the place where you go to slumber?
It's fairly tidy. Miles is a creature of habit. He rises every morning, he makes his bed, he has breakfast, he goes to work. And when he comes home, he makes sure that everything is in a row as he left it.
And could you tell me what exactly comes through your mind as you lie on your bed and slowly prepare to sleep after that very day?
The hanging thought in his head is, what exactly happened? They were disconnected, weren't they?
I mean, there was no conversation ongoing on the server after the 3 dots left by Kendra at the end of her last message.
And I haven't heard from her since.
No, she hasn't given any other message, but it was pretty late already, so maybe she was just wrapping up for the day.
I think every now and then I would check my phone just to see if there's any notifications from the server before finally drifting off.
There's one thing that is on your mind except for Kendra and the Discord conversation, and that is Christopher, your brother. One thing that you saved from the place and the situation in which you found Christopher's mutilated body was his bag. The bag in which you found his phone, his personal belongings. It was a professional sort of a bag that he always had with him. A lot of pockets, a lot of little hidden compartments, you could say. Not too complicated nor flashy, but definitely something that he could put a lot of things in. As you slowly wrap up for the day, you feel the urge to go through the bag of Christopher again. Maybe to just touch it, to touch his belongings, to browse through his phone again, although you memorized completely what is inside now. But as you touch the bag yet again, and you dive your hand inside in order to grab either a phone or any other piece of his belongings, you feel something different. You can retrieve an item from the green bag that is on the screen in front of you.
Oh, I see.
It seems like a marble. When you touch it in your hands, you feel a smooth surface. It seems to be made of metal, but as you move it around in between your fingers, it feels like there's something inside, something that shifts its weight slightly from left to right, top to bottom. kind of like a gyroscope or something. There has to be some kind of, maybe a smaller marble inside. And this item at first seems to be just quite pleasant to detach, something that you could maybe move around your fingers in order to wind down, to get some stress relieved. But as you move it around your fingers, trying to understand why the hell your brother had this item in his bag, you feel it vibrating slightly. It's like the weight inside shifts a little bit and starts moving the closer you put it to Christopher's bag. I would like you to roll for me. Let's go with intelligence plus occult. That would be 4 dots in intelligence, and occult you have 2 dots, so 6 dice total, and you're using the orange dice. Alright, you do have 2 successes. You are using this. Yeah, there we go. 2 successes. Well, the only thing that you notice on Christopher's bag, I mean, except for the fact that inside there's still his phone, there may be some notes, but on the surface of the bag, the only item which you've retrieved from the scene, you can see some hair. And these hair do not belong to Christopher. They're kind of bright, and they look like animal hair, probably. Something that maybe could come out from a dog. And he doesn't have a dog. With all of that in mind, Miles, with everything that happened, with the bag, with the little marble in your hands, with Kendra, the Discord conversation, what is your goal now? If you would have to pick something, what do you want to do in Staten Island this month, in the time soon enough? Something that you would aim for? Is there something that you long for right now?
Predominantly closure. I would like to figure out exactly where this hair came from, and if I'm not going insane by holding this marble to the hair and pulling it back and feeling the vibrations become weaker and stronger as I do so. I want to figure out where this came from.
That makes perfect sense. With that in mind, in the ambition field that you have on the top of your character sheet below the concept, I would like you to write down however you will call it, however you will describe this feeling. You can say to find out what's up with the little marble, to discover the meaning of the hair, or to learn more about Christopher's death. Whichever you pick, all are going to work. That makes sense. I will keep in mind that it's about all of these things. Now, what is going to be the first step in order to do that? Something a little bit more easy to do. Something that Miles could even start doing tomorrow. What do you think?
Collecting a hair sample and taking it probably to a lab on campus, or reaching out to someone I know that might have information on these sorts of things.
All right. In Desire, then, you can write this is going to be your short-term goal. Research the hair, I guess. Find out more about the hair. This is going to be something that you're going to try to find out pretty soon. And with that in mind, we are panning the camera back away from the very tidy and nice room in which Miles is slowly dozing off, and we are moving on to Riot. Riot, can you describe your room to us?
I think the camera comes in a very similar way, but it's just one area that's clean in like Riot Studio apartment. So we have those same elements, and the rest is just like boxes and clothes and like makeup containers and takeout. So it's clean in one spot.
I see. What's the smell?
It doesn't smell bad. It's a room. They're really trying to adjust. They're kind of just getting into that space. There's probably like a little oil infuser with some like citrusy smell on a bedside.
Okay. Riot, as you lie down in the bed, could you do one thing for me? Could you look around with your mind's eye and tell me, is there anything in your direct neighborhood that you would describe to be your object of comfort? Something that you really enjoy having? Something that brings a smile to your face?
The first thing that came to mind was ice cream, so maybe like a little parlor or an ice cream truck that comes by, if those still happen in the modern day.
All right, that works. But I do assume that, you as an influencer, you do like to surround yourself with a lot of trinkets that maybe you receive from sponsorships. Maybe you just got them from the sponsorships money. A lot of nice stuff which is not necessarily edible. Something that would be on your shelf and that just would be there for a little bit longer than a cup of ice cream.
Okay. Taking that back, a bracelet. Just a nice silver bracelet.
Nice silver bracelet. Well, as you take it in your hands, just trying to put it on your wrists, as sort of a self-care moment at the end of the night, just to feel a little better before you go to sleep, your mind drifts off to less pleasant things, to the things that happened to you back when the supernaturals were involved. Or was it supernaturals or just one supernatural? Could you tell me a bit about the person who did the bad thing to you?
It was various different leeches, but one in particular was this really handsome guy. His name was Leo.
Leo.
Brawn, thick hair, like a lion. Surprise, surprise. And not necessarily the brightest, but also they were charming and made up for that fact.
What do you feel now when you think about Leo?
Disgust, guilt, anger. Just a lot of raw and hurt.
Riot, as you touch the silver bracelet on your wrists, you tell yourself that you have the power to fight against this bastard and any other bastard that is ever going to stand on your way. And they're going to pay for what they've done to you and to so many other people. Some people that you know. The bracelet that you have on your hands, you may not consciously know this, but is going to non-directly help you with that. This is going to be your object of focus for the unnatural edge that you've picked in the character creation. In order to for the natural, you will focus on something that again speaks, treat yourself. This is me and this is my zone, and that is going to be the little bracelet on your hand, which will help you with repelling whatever influence Leo or others will try to supernaturally force upon you. Does it sound okay?
Mm-hmm. That's perfect.
All right. Now, let's think about your ambition. is there something that's Riot that you want to do right now? Like, maybe not right now, something that maybe is not possible for you. If you could, you would just go out right now and do it. But you know it's going to be a bit of a longer task, but something you aspire to do.
Would it be too broad to disarm Leo? They don't necessarily know how to destroy a creature like that, but have them destroyed. I'm trying to avoid vampire terms.
I actually would absolutely allow you to go for something more broad, which is destroy a vampire, if you feel like it.
Okay.
All right, let's put it in your ambition. Now, when we go to your desire, this is something a little bit more short term. Something that is going to be just one step on the huge ladder or staircase towards your ambition. What is it that you can do tomorrow in order to bring you one step closer to that goal?
Possibly find out what happened to Kendra if she's gone quiet.
Okay. Talk to Kendra, get in touch with Kendra, find out what happened to Kendra. They all work. This is all going to be fine. And now, our camera pans back again and zooms in to Ripley's room. Ripley, how does your room look like?
Ripley lives within a motel, so their room is mostly empty. There's a bed, a chair, there's some clothes on the chair that's neatly folded, but otherwise it's pretty empty. There's a duffel bag sitting at the foot of the bed, and they're sitting on the bed, staring at their phone, checking over the Discord over and over.
There's no message appearing. Do you write something there? Are you just waiting, or...?
Ripley is waiting.
Okay. As you wait, as the hours go by, nothing happens. It is quite easy for the mind to spiral down pretty dark paths, staring at the same thing on the screen that never changes, never gives answers, never gives a closure. Do you feel you had any closure after your work in the org?
No. There was never any closure.
Your mind goes back to a moment which you've shared with Eva, your ex-coworker, when you were still working there. A moment which, as you remember, might have been the tipping point for Eva to quit and for you to quit soon after. Do you remember what that moment was? Can you imagine this moment for me?
We were talking about Grace and what happened to her, and how the org wasn't doing anything.
Were you trying to intervene within the org inside in order to do something about the situation?
Yes. Ripley was trying to gather information on who they assumed committed the act, to take care of them themselves, because the org would not do anything. They were just a lost asset and nothing more, and Ripley couldn't accept that.
Now, maybe a little bit more of a harder question, but does the cold-hearted and ruthless side of the org has any face for you? Any coworker who was the person that basically made you lose hope in org's good intentions?
There was someone of a higher stature and a higher ranking than myself who told me that's just the cost of the job, that it didn't matter, that it happens and it will happen again, and it's best to just keep your ties cut from everyone. They simply didn't care.
Do you remember their name?
Gregory.
Gregory. All right. Do you remember how Gregory looked like?
Not anymore. Most of our communication was done through classified channels, encrypted emails.
You've seen Gregory once when you were trying to, in one of the last outbursts of hope that you can still make a change, that you can still do something, of gathering all the papers, all the materials, and at first actually going to the org, going to an official, presenting your case and trying to convince them that, hey, something can be done with this. You have data about that. And you remember Gregory as a very neatly dressed man, slightly balding, with circular glasses on his nose. His facial expression was that of complete poker face. Face that didn't show any emotions, and you didn't know if it's because the work for the organization has completely striped him of any emotions, or is it because he never had them at all? Replay, what is going to be your ambition? What do you want to do long term right now? Something that your focus is going to be in your life and on Staten Island.
Reveal the secrets of who killed Grace and eradicate them.
All right. Do you have any more information that you've gathered about the case of Grace?
It's not much. Date, time, location. It was a warehouse. They were sent on a mission, and they were burned assets. Bait.
Do you remember any supernatural situation that happened there? Anything that could suggest the type of a supernatural creature? Or is it all a blur?
It's all a blur, though it's known to be supernatural, just not what.
I understand. You can write in your ambition to try to find out what happened to Grace, or what killed Grace. With your knowledge right now, after the conversation with Kendra, after getting to know all of these, or not really getting to know these people on the list on Discord, because you don't really know them yet, but you know that they exist, what would be your desire, something that you could do tomorrow in order to get you closer to this goal?
Tomorrow I will go to Kendra. I will ask her about what was the Discord about. Try to get information.
All right. Find Kendra. The camera pans back again, and it goes back to her lovely garage. It's a little bit of a rundown place. There's a lot of items there. Probably doesn't need to be that much, especially with how little work is actually done within the garage. But it's a homey place. It feels like, with all the items there, with whatever force or reason brought them there, there is some kind of a small story that contributes to the greater picture. Goldie, could you tell me a little bit more about the garage and where you are right now?
Oh, sure. The garage was next to the gym, so Goldie decided to buy it too. And Goldie sleeps here in the garage in a little alcove. She's got a cot and a blanket and a pillow, and that's pretty much enough for Goldie. And Goldie right now is probably making sure that the alley cat gets fed.
The POS, as you call him.
Piece of shit.
Yes. So, can you tell me more about POS? How does the POS look like? What's the agenda?
No idea what the gender is, but POS just been hanging out ever since Goldie moved in, and comes in when they please and goes when they want to, and always begging for food, always bugging my ass. But he's gray and white. Pretty simple looking alley cat.
Well, you do feed your little boy, and he's very grateful. He seems to really want to cuddle, but he's kind of dirty, for the alley cat.
Yeah, stinks too.
You don't know where he goes. The paths are unknown, and you're sure that if you start digging into his fur a little bit, you maybe would find some ticks or fleas or whatever disgusting thing. You're not very much, or are you, a person that would be cuddly with POS?
Cuddly, no. I've given him a bath once or twice, but he always comes back just as dirty. So it seems kind of pointless.
I see. Well, it's kind of nice that you've given a bath to a cat, even though you have no animal ken and you have no idea how to do it professionally. You improvised.
Yeah, I got some scars.
Perfect. Well, as you feed your cat, night is slowly falling over Staten Island, and the lanterns, the street lamps are starting to light up, and you can see on the corner of the street that one bastard that you've seen plenty of times, a guy with a baseball hat and sunglasses, although it's pretty dark already, so he for sure doesn't need them. A very grey beard with a little mustache, beer belly, and designer clothing, but not very much well fit nor well chosen outfit in general. And he's there with his little Canon camera taking pictures of your gym entrance and the garage once again, trying to wait for the perfect moment, maybe when the homeless person down the street is going just right past your garage, just trying to take that picture to showcase how run down this street is, what a bad place it is, and it attracts the worst possible people. Do you do anything?
Oh, absolutely. Goldie will grab the most obscene-looking monkey wrench that she has in there and head out onto the street and just start screaming at him, waving it at him, telling him to get his ass off the street.
He takes his iPhone in his hands from his pocket, and he seemingly starts recording you. Just says, instead of facing you and actually talking to you, he faces the microphone on his iPhone, and he says, look, she's crazy, she's assaulting me.
Goldie probably wouldn't have gotten very close to him, so he definitely looks pretty stupid right now. She does absolutely look like a crazy person, but she's just waving and screaming at him, calling him a scumbag from across the street.
He walks up to you, trying to provoke you this way. He actually he's like, probably if anyone sees this recording, they would see that he's actually stepping towards you and just waving the camera in front of your face, screaming, she's assaulting me.
I think with the other hand, Goldie would attempt to take his phone, but I don't know if I have the good enough pool to do that.
I mean, you can definitely try. Do you want to do it by force, use your strength, or maybe it's a little bit more of a dexterous feat, where you want to quickly swipe it from his hands and...
I would like it to be quick.
Mm-hmm. So not actually using force, not trying to hurt him, right?
No.
I would say it's dexterity and brawl.
Okay, so that's 6 dice.
6 dice, only orange. Well, that's 2 successes.
I'll burn a willpower for this.
You can do that, definitely. We haven't covered this with the previous roll, but you can burn the willpower in order to do this. it's fine if we haven't done this before, Miles, because of the story reasons, but here, I guess I will allow that. We have 4
4 successes.
4 successes, and wait, we actually have more. No, do we? Oh yes, we do, because
Oh, we do?
we have a critical. So
Yeah.
with these 2 special fires here, you are getting +2 successes. So we're having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes total. A wonderful feat of dexterity, of quickness, something that you've learned on the boxing ring. And with your hand just making a quick whip, whip move, the phone is now in your hands. Do you stop the recording?
Yes, and I think Goldie will put it in her bra or in her cleavage and say, "This is mine for the trouble."
Well, he doesn't engage with you forwards.
I wouldn't.
Like, he is afraid of what you've just done. This was definitely extremely impressive. But as he steps away from you, he keeps yelling, "I'm calling the police! This you stole it from me! This is mine!"
And Goldie will head back into the garage and she'll just say, "Yeah, call the police. Joseph's working tonight."
Well, you weren't bothered that night anymore. You were able to safely go back to your place of slumber. And as you lie down after it all, a lot of thoughts may be drifting through your head. Kendra, definitely. There's all of the stuff that happened with Vicky. There is this fucking homeowner association that is definitely bothering you throughout the days and nights, as it looks like. With all of this in mind, what do you think is your ambition right now?
The ambition for Goldie has always been the same since she started getting older. So she definitely is afraid of losing that quickness she was able to grab the phone with. She knows that she could have done it quicker and she could have done it faster, but she's losing it. It's fleeting as the years go by.
So your ambition,
she'd like to get it back, or keep it at least.
So your ambition would be to get stronger or quicker, to become again what you know you used to be, even though you do not believe it's possible in the natural means.
Yes.
All right, I am completely fine with that. Get stronger is a good ambition, with the caveat that I'm going to remember about the supernatural part of it, which Goldie is perfectly aware of what it's going to take. Or are you, Goldie?
Yes,
well,
absolutely.
We're going to move on to desire. What do you think is going to be the very first step in order to get this? Something that you can still do, even tomorrow.
In order to retain my to further my ambition, or just in general?
Ambition is your general goal, while desire is something that you're trying to, like, small steps you're trying to do in order to get that goal, but it can go pretty much further. Like, in your particular situation, this can be something like that with Kendra, with the situation that we have on the Discord server with the other people, because going with the way your mind works, this could be connected.
So something more immediate then?
Yes, definitely.
Then definitely would be to either call or go by Kendra's house.
All right. So get in touch with Kendra. That is your desire. And as we all go to sleep, because we have to, we are not supernatural creatures that are immune to the power of Morpheus, Sandman, however you call the supernatural creature that could possibly be the guilty party of us having to go to sleep. Or maybe it's just all natural. We just have to go to sleep to regenerate. And we all do, as we are all just mere humans. Except maybe for one person who does not go to sleep because she cannot. And that is Kendra. Goldie, you do not know that up until the very morning when you wake up and start checking your place around, but Kendra has left a message on your phone. And now we're going to listen to that message. Hey Goldie, it's me, Kendra. Sorry for leaving a message so late. I guess I just couldn't sleep after yesterday. I know what you're gonna say, old Kendra was naive and all, and maybe I was. These are all good kids, Goldie, so much younger than us, and already went through so much. No wonder they show no enthusiasm towards the cause. But I have an idea on what could spark it up, you know? Get the gears moving. Something quite simple at first, not to discourage them, maybe. Liz Everly, you remember her? From Toad Hill? Always swarmed by cats. Anyway, she told me, bless her soul, she told me she has a haunting problem. Something weird going on with her house, apparently. Could be just old lady rambling, like us, right? But, I'll go there tomorrow and check in with her. If I feel something fishy is going on, maybe we can all meet there. Talk to the kids in person. I would love that. Let's stay in touch, okay, Goldie? Sleep well, you old hag. Bye.
Nice.
All right. I hear that you've listened to the audio clip. Goldie, what do you do after you've heard this message?
Goldie would probably try and call her back.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you dial Kendra's number, there's an answering machine, or the Kendra's voice that says, "Hi, whoever calls me, this is Kendra Sandoval. I cannot pick it up now, but do call me again sometime. Thanks, bye."
Goldie will leave a message and just say, look, don't worry about it. I'll get these kids on board. And watch who you're calling old, you bat. Hang up.
Well, the day goes by for all of you with the deeds that you are doing in a little bit more of a longer span of time. Starting with Goldie, I assume that you just continue your work at the gym, or what is your plan today?
Goldie would probably, right after the message with Kendra, would just send out a message onto the Discord with the address of the gym, because probably same as the garage, same street, and just leave that there, see if they come by, and then she would go about her day, making sure, people who come in have everything that they need and wiping stuff down, making sure the ring's clean, all that stuff.
All right. Well, everyone, you can see the address of Goldie on Discord after you wake up. Is there any message attached to that, Goldie?
Probably just something simple like come by when you have the time.
All right. And we're going to move to Miles. Miles, what do you do after you wake up and you see this message?
I see nothing from Kendra, correct?
Nothing from Kendra, no. She appears to be offline.
You told us before that she's like a community worker. Do we have a place of residence or like place of work for her? Does
Yes.
she work in like a shelter?
She moves around a lot, but if you want to specifically seek to meet her, the safest place is going to be the borough office, because she does hang out there a lot. There's a hall right next to it, a place where counseling sessions are often held. So even if you go to the borough office website, you are going to see Kendra Sandoval as one of the employees who works there.
Do they take donations? Specifically like clothing donations?
Clothing donations, yes, definitely. They do take these.
Okay, what I would do first upon not seeing a message from Kendra in the morning, I would load up a box with some of Christopher's old clothes, and I would go about my day as normal until the maybe like the afternoon when I have office hours. And with the intent to head there and maybe drop off some clothes, maybe get a glimpse of this Kendra.
All right. On the way there, beforehand, when you still go on with your work, do you visit the lab in order to leave the hair samples there?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Is the person at the lab that works there someone that you know, a friend, someone that would have a personal number of yours, or is that someone just a worker that you do not really know?
It would be someone that I have brushed shoulders with, but not someone who I'm overly familiar with.
All right. So no phone numbers that you have exchanged. Well, he would ask for your phone number in order to note this down. Nice young fellow. It seems to be the person that is taking care of the lab today. One of the students that has some practice in the lab currently. And he will let you know when the test results are going to be there. And of course, not everyone can just go there and ask for the samples and give the samples and ask for any work done on them, but because of your status on the university, you're able to do that. So, after work, you are going to the borough office in order to donate clothes, right? How would you go about it?
I don't know what Kendra looks like, correct?
You did see her avatar on Discord, which is actually a photo of her face.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would go in with a box and I would approach whatever reception area is there and see if I can spot her.
As you enter the place, of course, the borough office is quite big. It takes you a while to find the place from which the donations are accepting donations is being held. And as you go there, it seems to be just a little bit of a bigger room in the size of a regular post office, let's say. A lot of boxes in the background, a bit of a mess, and 3 people just running around and doing plenty of errands at once, all seemingly a bit nervous and just in very bad moods. It seems like they are overworked, understaffed, and there's way too much stuff piling up. So as the woman that is in front of the group of 3 sees you approaching with the pile of clothes, she cannot help but sigh deeply. Is that for the nation?
Yes, I'm sorry, is this a bad time?
Yes, I'm sorry, we're short of staff today. Leonardo, can you please call Kendra and please just find her because we need her now. Right now. She was supposed to be here 2 hours ago, and we are running late on everything, and I swear I'm going to yet again have the talk with the officials who are going to come here and see that there's a mess, and we're supposed to clean this up. There's going to be a checkup tonight, and I am not going to be responsible for this. And she takes the box from you and starts to distribute it in the back of the room. There's nothing else. No other interest in you that anyone is taking. There's no thank you. No, this is a thank you chocolate given to you. You're just basically being ignored right now.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Yes, she seems to be very annoyed.
You said Kendra didn't come in today.
Oh, yes, do you know her? Can you... Oh my goodness. Oh, great. We do need someone who knows her, because I do have her private number, but she's not picking up. And she was supposed to be here 2 hours ago, and she's not. So I guess she's calling in sick or something. Maybe yet another... Is there some strike going on? And she looks at the people in the back, some young guys who are just shaking their heads, seemingly intimidated by the woman in the front. Maybe she's protesting again, she always just goes to some protests and stuff. We need hands on board. Can you go to Kendra? Do you have any way to reach her and tell her that she needs to come now?
I'll see what I can do.
She seems to be a bit relieved as she breathes in, and finally her face lights up a bit and she says, "Thank you." And she goes back to working and yelling at her coworkers.
I'll take stock of the people like working the floor, try to commit their faces to memory, and then I'll make my exit.
I see. Ripley, you wake up in the morning and you see the message on Discord. What is your plan for the day?
I'm going to stop by. Ripley would know, like, Kendra's area too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Ripley would stop by as well.
So do you want to go by, because you actually know where Kendra lives, would you go by Kendra's house, or do you want to like visit her at work? What would be your way of approaching this?
What time is it?
How early do you wake up?
I would think Ripley wakes up rather early,
Okay.
like 6 a.m., 5.
Well, it's 6 a.m. when you can go out of your house. You know that's literally no one sane from the city office, from the borough office, works at this hour. Kendra might be one of these insane people that actually do, but if you really want to go to Kendra immediately, even though on the Discord the address that you have there is Goldie's, then you would rather go to Kendra's house. But that's up to you.
Yes, Ripley would go to Kendra's house first. They would take note of the address, but Kendra first.
All right. So Kendra isn't very situated, let's say. Kendra doesn't live in a standalone house, nor, no mansion, no residential area, nothing like that. In fact, she lives in a rented apartment. And you know that because, honestly, Kendra is not very secretive about the fact that she's not very good with money. And she definitely spends way too much money on helping others. And you know her from constantly trying to buy more food for the animal shelter, try to buy the clothes for the donations, and basically spending most of her resources on others instead of her own needs, even if these needs are, in trouble, let's say, even if she really needs that for herself. And as you approach the apartment lots in which she lives, again, it's not a very much of a residential area. It's pretty rundown, but, Staten Island in general has, there are some areas which are a little bit lower on the price of rent, but in general, it gets higher and higher recently. So as you enter the building block, the front doors are open. You don't have to use the intercom because there's a lock. There's some van in front of the doors. And as you approach, you go upstairs towards the doors to Kendra's apartment. You see them open. And there is a man with a very nice shirt and trousers, some chinos, just standing there and directing a group of people who are basically moving stuff away from that apartment.
Ripley will walk up to the man and ask, what's going on with this apartment?
Oh, it's going to be available for rental. Are you interested in the area? Are you looking for a place to rent?
Well, I was looking for the person that lived here.
Why? Are you friends or something? Are you family?
Yes. Do you know what's going on? Did they leave?
Was that yes honest, or was it a bit of a lie?
It was a little bit of a lie.
Well, we had that talk, Ripley. We had that talk. You do tend to try to lie to people, although you can't. But we're going to roll right now. And for the roll, I will allow you to go with manipulation plus... let's double manipulation. Manipulation. We're going to try very hard. Go for 4 dice. Oh, wow, 3 successes. You're definitely quite convincing in that moment. It might be because of how much you care about what happens to Kendra and where exactly is she. The guy looks at you, just up and down, tries to maybe check whether you are in any way similar to Kendra visually. And as you know, Kendra visually, she's basically the opposite of you. Short, kind of, thick build, with a very warm features in contrast to your tall and kind of a cold exterior. And he says, well, if you are friends, then maybe you know what's going on. I told her a few months ago that the rent is going to go higher and that she has to pay more because the cost of living in here is growing. So I gave her the note of how much she's about to pay, and she sends me a response. And he just clicks on his phone very quickly to the message from Kendra, which is dated from 2 months ago, and he shows it to you in your face. And the text message says, "Go fuck yourself." And well, I mean, the notice has went through. It's been 3 months now. I haven't seen my money, so we are basically moving her out now. There's just no way out of this.
Ripley has to fight from laughing at reading that message. It doesn't seem like the Kendra that Ripley knows, but she likes the attitude.
It is definitely not the Kendra you know. The Kendra, has this very warm, bit of a grandma demeanor already. She's aging and it shows, but she would never use stronger words in front of you. And if you or anyone else that she was counseling for was using words that were kind of harsh, she would always try to very gently be like, "Oh, there's no need to use harsh words. It's going to be fine." But here, you see her sending that message to who seems to be her landlord.
They will nod their head and thank you for your time. I'll get out of your hair. And they'll go back down.
Mhm.
Take out their phone when they're downstairs and they will attempt to call her, like her office.
Her office. I see. I mean, she does have work phone number, and if you would call that phone, you would hear the answering machine. You would hear Kendra's voice doing the usual, "This is Kendra Sandoval. Please leave the message later. I'm going to pick it up later. I am busy right now. Thank you. Bye." And if you're going to call her workplace, you would find the same person that's earlier talked to Miles, the woman with a very tired, exhausted, and annoyed voice telling you that Kendra is not at work today.
Ripley will call both and then head towards the address given by Goldie.
All right. Riot, let's go to you. You wake up in the morning. What is your morning routine?
They wake up, phone cameras on, recording the day. The whole get ready with me, skincare routine, and just starting content to edit later.
Perfect. Have you drop any uploads yesterday or this morning? Something new?
Not recently, which could be of concern to fans, but given the situation, they're gonna just do a mini hiatus.
I see. That's perfect. That works. So, what is going to be your next step after you go online, you do a little video, you check Discord, and except for a lot of incoming messages and friend requests from people you have no idea about, you can see a message left on the server that Kendra shared with you yesterday, on which Goldie has shared her address.
I think they're gonna reply, how soon do you want to meet? Question mark.
Goldie, do you reply back?
Yes. Goldie would reply back, "Whenever you're free, I'm here."
This afternoon? Coffee?
Sure.
Perfect. And with that short conversation, we're going back to Miles for just a bit. who, I have to ask, after all that happened that day, would you still like to visit Goldie?
Yeah, that would be seemingly the last resort, having gotten 0 hits on anything to do with Kendra. And now the situation seems a bit more dire since she's missing, or at least didn't show up from work or to work. So later in the evening, Miles would show up.
All right. Goldie, could you describe to us very quickly how does the gym look like from the outside? What is the neighborhood? How does a person get there? Is there a parking lot? What's the general thing?
Getting to the gym is probably a pretty nice drive. It's probably nice streets, but it seems to start turning more decrepit as you get closer to Goldie's gym. Obviously, you get this feeling that this is the last vestige of the gentrification of Staten Island. The outside is not terrible looking, but it definitely doesn't look like Goldie's out there painting or putting up neon signs or running promotions or anything like that. Looks a little bit run down, but looks big. There's lights on inside. Doesn't look scary or haunted or anything.
Goldie, when you left the message, did you point people on the server to specifically visit you in the garage, or did you, in general, set the gym address?
I think she would have just put in Goldie's gym and then the address. But you can
Alright.
definitely see the attached garage.
So, once people would enter your gym, what would they see inside?
A typical looking boxing gym, no new equipment. Equipment looks like it's probably from the 90s or the early 2000s at best. A lot of it is patched up with duct tape. There's what looks like there might be an office in the back or a door that might lead to an office and bathrooms. And there's also a kitchen window that's sort of a cutout, sort of cafeteria style cutout of the wall. And Goldie's probably in there, probably cooking.
All right. So when someone enters the gym, they would see you.
Yeah, it's a place where Goldie can see the doors, the entrance, and the ring, and everything else.
All right. Ripley, you enter first. What do you do?
Kind of just look around, check out the equipment, and then they smell something, so they'll head towards the kitchen.
Goldie, as you are cooking something, how do you look like? Are you dressed like right now?
Well, it depends. What time of year are we talking about?
We're talking autumn. We're talking September.
Well, then, Goldie is wearing flannel and some old jeans, maybe a pullover or what I think a sweater. That's what we say in English. But definitely doesn't look like she puts a whole lot of effort into how she looks. Hair's probably not combed very well or thoroughly.
Ripley, how do you look like, and what do you have on you?
All right, so they are wearing a white t-shirt, but on top of it is an olive sweater that's pulled over, so you can only see the collar of the t-shirt. They have a silver chain. A cassette tape hangs on the belt of their jeans, and orange headphones sit around their neck.
Perfect. Well, you enter the kitchen and you see Goldie cooking something. What is it, Goldie? What do you cook?
Goldie's probably cooking up some eggs and fried rice.
No pepper, no salt.
And there's probably some table salt on the table, maybe the very bottom of the bottle Lowry seasoning salt, but that's probably been there for 6 months, if not longer.
I see. Well, this is the first time you see each other in person.
Goldie will definitely take notice of the cassette player, and she would say, "Hey, I had one of those back in the 80s."
Goldie, you do not recognize this person. I think you've never seen Ripley in person before, and the avatar on Discord didn't show Ripley's face, so you wouldn't know who that is.
No, but Goldie's pretty used to Kendra sending people over who maybe are a little bit intimidated by the gym, so she would be very used to just striking up conversation.
Ripley, do you reply?
Ripley just uncomfortably nods, kind of putting their hand on top of the cassette.
But what do you got in there?
Music.
Well, I assumed. Well, I don't know. Maybe you can get a podcast on tape. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. We talked on Discord.
Yeah, which one are you? Are you the cat? You look like a cat person.
I hate cats. My name
Oh,
is Ripley.
after my own heart. Ripley, I remember you. How you doing?
I came here because I can't find Kendra. Have you seen her? She said anything?
Sina, no. I got a voicemail from her this morning.
She's getting kicked out of her apartment.
Oh shit. Did she
And
I probably should have told her that I sent a message to her landlord. I probably should have told her that.
that was you? I saw the message, the fuck off.
Oh. Well, Kendra is not the best at standing up for herself. She's probably the sweetest soul on this godforsaken island. So sometimes she needs someone to stand up for her.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Well, it's good to know that it was you. I was almost concerned because it didn't seem like her, you know?
No, she wouldn't hurt a soul with a word or otherwise. I did hear from her, but I would rather wait until we are joined by anyone else. I know Riot, I think. Riot is coming. I'm not sure if that's their real name or not.
And as you say that, a person appears in the doorway. Small, beautiful person dressed like, well, Riot, how are you dressed like?
I think they always dress for a night out, no matter what time it is. They have this really clearly faux fur jacket and maybe a black cocktail dress with a lot of jewelry. And they come in, again, taking pictures and video and walking around like it's a tourist attraction.
Well, you certainly do not look like you're going to work out here, do you?
I'm not at all.
People in the gym, it's kind of late, but there's still a lot of people training, and they look at you, some of them kind of unkind, being like, what the hell are you doing here? Are you recording me? I am sweating here, I don't look good. But one person in particular, a woman who is on treadmill running with a long blonde ponytail, she looks at you, she tilts her head a bit like a cat trying to figure out who the hell are you? And then she beams, she smiles, and Riot! Riot, is that you, Riot?
Oh my gosh, hi, how are you?
Oh my goodness, it's you. I follow you on TikTok. I love your stuff. You're amazing. You're an inspiration. What are you doing here?
I'm blushing, my goodness. I have a deal. I just wanted to market it and get a scope of the place first before I signed any. You have to be on top.
And she just seems to be extremely shocked. You have a deal here? In my gym? I'm here every day and you have a... Oh, does it mean that we're going to see you here more often?
Who knows? And they give a wink.
All right. Well, Goldie, Ripley, you see the scene unfold outside as you pause your conversation to see what the hell is going on.
Goldie would, in between stirring the rice in the frying pan, would shout out, "Hey, paparazzi, put your cell phone away, please."
Okay. And it just slips.
That's the one rule I have in here.
The person training on treadmill just looks at you with a smile and rolls her eyes theatrically, like, that's Goldie for you. Don't worry about her. She's the kindest soul. I would love you to take the deal so we can see you here more often. Please take the deal. Take the deal. Take the deal. Okay, I'm not going to bother you anymore. I'm sorry. And she
No,
keeps
you're
on
fine,
running.
you're- And she continues the walk over to Goldie and Ripley. So,
Hey.
this place is nice. Did they shoot Rocky here, or am I just imagining things?
We're a little far from Philadelphia.
Oh, I never saw Jim and plays together. It is, I don't want to say a dump, but it is cultured. Yeah, cultured is best.
Yeah, you can call it a dump, but the dump's mine, so that's good enough.
Ripley, what do you do?
Yeah, Ripley is just now awkwardly standing kind of at the distance and looking between the two of them. They were not sure that that was going to be a fight. Yeah, so you were on the Discord, right?
Yes, Riot. Nice to meet
I'm Ripley.
Ripley, and then they point to Goldie. Hot mama.
Goldie will let go of the frying pan for a second and hold a grizzled hand out. Yeah, you can call me Goldie. Oh, you can call me Hot Mama if you want, but most people call me Goldie.
I think I can juggle both. And they take her hand, the firm shake.
And as that shake is being made, the door open again. And Miles, or should they say Christopher, walks in. Miles, how do you look like today?
Well, I'm wearing the coat, TM. It's a pretty dingy olive, question mark, some cross between olive and brown overcoat that has seen better days. Its appearance belies a otherwise pristine button-up shirt beneath, light blue with some khaki slacks beneath. I have circular glasses pushed up the bridge of my nose, and I come in basically eyeing the place corner to corner, person to person, taking in everything as quickly as I can before finally settling on the group gathering in the back towards the kitchen.
Well, you definitely don't look like you're going to train here, and as you walk straight towards the kitchen, and you end up in the same room as Goldie, Ripley, and Riot, it seems like you are the tallest of them all, kind of imposing everyone with your posture as you walk through the doors with your big coat just flowing behind you. A bit like some sort of a special investigator sort of a type. And that side, Goldie, Ripley, Riot, definitely tells you that there is some big deal going on.
Goldie will look him up and down and say, well, I'm guessing you're Christopher.
You'd be right. And you are?
Hot Mama on Discord, Goldie in real life. I guess that's how the kids say it.
Christopher will extend a hand.
Goldie will meet his hand. Firm handshake.
And the
Goldie,
rest of you?
very quickly just asking, is there enough eggs on your frying pan for everyone?
Oh yeah, this is a big industrial frying pan. Maybe you might think that it's an old hubcap that's been converted into a frying pan, and you wouldn't be totally wrong. Because this is not just food for Goldie, this is food for all the kids in the gym. So as soon as it's done, Goldie will just lean half her body out that little window and shout at the kids that food's on the burner whenever they want to eat, if they want to eat.
Noted. Well, the conversation can continue.
The rest of you.
Hi, Ryan. It's a pleasure. And they are a little extra giggly and a little red to their cheeks, but they still extend a hand.
I have to ask. This place always this public?
Yeah. But that's because I'd rather these kids be here than dealing smack on the street or being smacked at home. So we have a more private place. If you are hungry, please grab a plate. I got some salt on the table if you need salt. And you can follow me out back to the garage.
Ripley will take a plate.
Riot, do you take a plate?
Oh, my mic didn't pick up. They're gonna pass over the mentioning of just salt.
Okay. What about you, Miles?
Yeah, I'll look it over and check. I'll first check the color of the rice and the eggs, see if was there any pepper used at all.
No, you can see that there is an almost empty body of Lowry seasoning salt. So maybe she put that in, but there's no way to tell. Everything is pretty brown. She cooked it up a long time.
No, thank you.
And as you
Uh,
follow Goldie to the garage, Goldie, what can they see?
She leads them out the back. There's the alley where there's trash cans. They probably see Poss sitting on one of the trash cans or on the fence. And then there's a back door to the garage that she'll lead them through. And, inside the garage is it's dirty. It's poorly ventilated. There's one window that is cracked open. You're sure it's somewhere because you can feel the breeze, but it smells very heavily of oil and dust. And there's just old motor parts, tools. Nothing's really organized in here. It's like Goldie hasn't had the chance or the desire to set it up looking real nice or anything.
Is there any place to sit?
Yes, there is a big table that looks like it was probably here when Goldie bought it, and a couple of chairs, and none of them match.
Ripley, do you take a seat or do you stand somewhere in the corner?
Ripley will stand next to the table, take a bite of the food, and then discreetly put it down onto the table.
Riot, would you take a seat?
Yeah, they'll sit.
What about you, Miles?
Nah.
Goldie, do you sit down?
Oh yeah, Goldie sits down on one of the lawn chairs and puts her feet up on the table.
You sit down together with Riot, who sits on the opposite side of you, with Ripley and Miles standing in proximity. This whole situation is a little bit uncomfortable to all of you.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day. I'm sure you all had other stuff to do. And I'm sure you all were worried about Kendra. That Discord conversation didn't go very well. Or do you disagree?
I mean, it was really open-ended and kind of creepy, so yeah, it was shit.
Yeah. Well, Kendra was a little bit more than disappointed that you all weren't ready to jump into this, I don't even know what to call it, this investigation, let's say. And that's Kendra for you. She gets real hyped up on certain ideas, and she gets, she can get pretty easily discouraged. And Goldie will take her phone out and she will play the message for them that Kendra left.
Mm-hmm. The message plays and ends on Kendra calling Goldie, the old hag, laughing and saying a soft but tired bye.
So, Ripley, you said she didn't didn't go home, or she wasn't home this morning?
Yeah, she, her apartment was being gutted because she hadn't paid her rent. which I guess that can happen, but I tried calling her office and there was no answer, and then I called her workplace and they were not pleasant, so
She hasn't been in.
At all?
They wanted me to find her.
Oh, shit. That
yeah,
ain't
me
like her.
too.
When did you receive this message?
This morning. Early.
How early?
Kendra's up like 4:30.
You have-
I'm asleep in a little bit at like 6:30.
Yeah, I left at 6 and headed to her place. She was already gone.
Well, according to the message, she went to Liz Everly's house. You guys know Liz Everly?
No, I don't.
You have an address.
Yeah. uh, how Goldie probably doesn't know Liz Everly that well. Would that be correct in assuming?
You do not know her personally. You haven't had a chance to talk to her, but you know where she lives. You went by with a car with Kendra. Kendra is the person that used to tell you a lot about people living in the area. She knows a lot of people. So whenever you were driving around, she would point at the houses and tell you who lives where. Elizabeth Everly, in particular, lives in Toad Hill, which is the residential area of Staten Island, and it is known to be one of the most expensive areas of Staten Island. It's a place where you don't go often, but and Kendra has a bit of distaste about people living there in general, although she had a little bit of a soft spot towards Elizabeth, as she is known to be the crazy cat lady of the area. She does have a lot of the fur babies that she gives food to and tries to fill her lonely days with the presence of the cats, which is very much to the dismay and the general uprising of the area. Other people are trying to protest against Elizabeth doing what she does, but Elizabeth has enough position and money in order to just not worry about that and do her thing. Even when the homeowner association and all of the neighbors in the area are trying to voice their concerns, Elizabeth was just always doing her thing, and I think probably this is why Kendra was having some respect to her and liked her a bit.
Yeah, she's a little waspy for my taste, but that's the last place that Kendra said she was going.
Well, I don't know why we're standing here if we know. I'm ready to investigate, as it were.
Sorry, does Goldie provide the address?
Yeah, I'm sure she would provide the address to Liz's house.
The second Goldie rattles it off, Christopher would be writing it down in a very nondescript moleskin like field notebook, and he'd be heading for the door.
Does anyone stop Miles?
No, Ripley will leave too with the address.
Mm-hmm.
Goldie, you see all of them. Miles first, Ripley second, Riot's slowly standing up from their chair. All of them are leaving without saying anything. What is your reaction?
Goldie will stand up with a little groan and go like, "Well, thank you, Goldie. Thank you for the information. No, I'll drive." And just starts following them out.
Well, we end up in a pretty yet uncomfortable situation where all of you are heading outside of Goldie's gym and Goldie's garage, but you have not discussed going together. You all have your vehicles with you, I assume? Is there anyone
Public
who actually...
transport.
Public transport.
Yeah,
All right.
I think Riot Ubered.
All right, so we have Ripley, I guess, trying to find a method of public transportation. Riot on their phone trying to find the Uber or any sort of lift. Miles, have you traveled here using Christopher's van, or what method of transportation are you using?
The van, 100%.
All right. Goldie, what is your car?
Goldie has a Jeep that's probably like from 2003. so it's got 140,000 miles on it or something, but it runs.
Well, you all stand on the parking lots. Ripley and Riot seemingly without the vehicle, and just on the curb, browsing the phones and trying to find a way out. Miles and Goldie by the doors to their vehicles. You look at each other and your eyes meet.
Goldie, can I catch a ride?
I think that's acceptable. You didn't have to run out so quick. I was gonna offer one anyway.
Thanks. And Ripley will walk over and get into the passenger.
What about you, paparazzi? You want to ride?
You know, typically paparazzi would be like an insult, but paparazzi and hot mama sounds like a crime-fighting duo.
Hey, we'll trademark it when we get back, okay?
Okay, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Christopher, I assume that, you can drive that big honking thing.
It'll get me there.
Peachy.
Alright. And so the journey begins. You all drive away from the parking lot of Goldie's gym into vehicles, one belonging to Goldie and the second belonging to Miles. Miles, you are alone in your van as you drive. Quick question. Have you, in between the time of discovering the weird device in your van and now, tried to do anything with it? Did you have time to sit down, go for the instruction manuals, meddle with it, or have you been postponing this for a later moment?
Probably would have been postponing it,
Mm-hmm.
not really knowing what to make of it to begin with. I would have gone over the documentation more than once, but I wouldn't have actually touched the device.
You follow Goldie, you drive behind her. She's the one who leads the way. And the path goes through the windy roads up the residential area of the Toad Hill. And Goldie parks in front of the quite big plot of land, you could say. It's definitely more than just a garden. And the only difference in between this area and the houses nearby is it doesn't seem to be that much prepared for the, let's say, modern housing markets. Just move these dice away.
What's playing in Goldie's car? Do they
Good
use the
question.
radio?
Yeah, Goldie probably has the radio on and it's probably playing like a classic rock. Bon Jovi.
Living on a Prayer?
Sure, why not?
Ripley, are you vibing to Bon Jovi?
Ripley does like Bon Jovi.
Riot, do you vibe to Bon Jovi?
Riot is aging like 30 years. They didn't see an auxiliary like port or Bluetooth, and suddenly they're like in a Flintstones car.
Goldie, do you sing?
Goldie does not. Goldie probably, whoever is sitting in the passenger side, Goldie probably reaches over into the glove box and pulls out her smoking cigarette, her driving cigarettes, which is the only time she smokes is when she drives. And she just probably is smoking a Parliament while driving.
Oh. Ripley will roll down the window.
But
And
it's a Jeep, so everything is pretty, lots of air getting in.
Any comment from you, Riot?
No, just gonna enjoy the ride.
Alright. You're parking on the street in front of the, again, plot of land belonging to Elizabeth Everly. It is a little bit run down. It seems like a gardener hasn't been there for a while, in contrast to the houses nearby, which are just way too tidy. It seems like they spent way too much on both the gardening and water used to water these wonderful green plots of grass everywhere. Elizabeth's garden and house looks a little bit run down. It's still a big mansion, a big sort of a house that could probably reach insane prices in the modern housing market, but it doesn't seem to be on par with the style of the other French-style holiday houses with the swimming pools that you can see nearby. This one stands out to be a little bit more aged, let's say. No one has worked on it for a while. It wasn't designed to the standard of the modern real estate. And as you park, few things happen at once. Miles, as you have both of your hands on your wheel, you can feel slight vibration in your pockets. You stop the car, you thought that maybe it's the car just moving. It does vibrate aplenty when the engine is turned on, but the vibration continues, and it's not your phone.
Almost instinctively, I reach for the pocket that holds the marble.
And it is indeed the marble, moving a bit in your hands. Not enough to move your hand or to point you towards a direction or anything like that, but you can feel whatever is inside, it shifts its weight around, seemingly for no reason. And as you rotate it in between your fingers, trying to find out the reason of this, you can hear a loud beeping noise behind you.
I'll turn around.
The screen that is installed right below the circular thing that your brother installed on the roof of this car seems to be on suddenly. It was off, you haven't turned it on for any reason, and when you walk to it, when you try to go out of your driver's seat and see what's on it, you can see a line, like a curve basically, starting to go up. You have no idea what it means, but there's a curve that goes up, a little bit down, and then up again, and then a little bit down, and the beeping noise goes like beep, 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 beep. And then it flattens again. And the vibration in your pocket stops.
Just as a cursory test, I'll hold the marble up to the screen and towards like the front of the van and just sort of use it as some sort of detector to see if the vibration starts up again.
Sometimes, especially when you are closer to the doors that lead out of your car, you feel like there is some movement inside of the marble, but nothing anywhere similar to the movement you felt before. At the same time, Ripley, when you park the car, a feeling of sudden dread surrounds you. You cannot really pinpoint this to a specific thing or place, but it's like there's something really wrong going on, some instinct going on in your mind that tells you to brace yourself or drive back. Ripley, do you have any firearm on you?
Ripley probably has their pistol, but nothing more than that.
Right, well, I would like you to make me a very quick roll, if that's okay, for your arsenal perk. And that roll is going to be, well, for the pistol and the firearm that you have you just obtained it from the store and maybe tried to make it a little bit better using your crafting skills? Or have you tried to obtain some special sort of a weapon from the streets? Which one
I
would
would
you
say
choose?
it's probably just standard, so probably from the streets.
All right. Could you roll me intelligence, or sorry, manipulation plus streetwise? I know you have low manipulation, but we can do that. Ooh, look at this. 4 success as well. Whatever you need this gun to be, it's going to be just that. And I'm going to immediately note that as long as you have this particular gun in your hands, you're going to have plus bonus 2 dice for ranged combat, okay?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
For this scene only, so don't get too happy about this one. But this scene, you get 2 dice. All right. The feeling is very strong, and it sort of vibrates in your veins. It pulsates as you feel the waves of fear, also a bit of curiosity, but more fear coursing through your veins. It's a bit of a feeling that you felt back when you were still working for the organization and you were just about to meet something supernatural. Ripley, as the feeling overwhelms you, do you say anything to Goldie or Riot?
No, I look uncomfortable. I glance towards Goldie. I look to see if they're feeling anything, either between Goldie or Riot. Of course, Riot's behind, so it's kind of an awkward craning of the neck.
Goldie, Riot, well, you do look at the house and the whole area in front of your car, and you see it being a bit run down. There's a bit of a feeling of, ooh, this might be a spooky mansion that we're coming into, but there's definitely no extra supernatural feeling to it. You feel like it might be just a house like everyone else's, just belonging to some old woman that doesn't care for it too much.
Goldie will take a last drag of the cigarette and throw it on the ground and look at. Can she see that Ripley looks visibly uncomfortable?
Could you roll
Yes.
me?
Oh,
Oh wait, you don't have to roll then. If Ripley, if you're so open about this feeling, then Goldie would definitely see that.
I'm looking at my stats, and I think Ripley would actually hide it a little bit.
Oh.
All right, let's go. Can you, Ripley, can you first roll me composure plus resolve?
Oh dear.
That's a lot of dice.
2, 5? Not really. 3. 3.
Wait,
Oh,
Goldie.
did you steal my dice?
Sorry, yeah, Ripley is
Oh,
rolling,
I'm so sorry.
yeah, Ripley is rolling for composure and resolve.
Understood.
Dun, 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 dun. And we have 2 successes only. Oh, 3, sorry. 1, 2, 3. All right, Goldie, this is going to be a difficulty of 3, and I would like you to roll wits plus insight.
5 dice.
You can use your willpower in order to reroll your failures if it comes to it. We have 3 successes, and or actually, is it no?
4
It's just a
successes.
regular.
That's 4
Yeah, it's
successes.
4. 1, 2, 3. Is it these ones?
Yeah,
Oh,
these ones
wait.
here.
Oh, you're right. There's one here. 4 successes. Perfect. Well, you definitely do see Ripley being very uncomfortable and maybe even scared.
What's the matter, sweetheart?
Just a vibe. Maybe it's the eggs.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with my eggs. It's definitely this craptastic house.
Gonna stifle a laugh at that.
You know, yeah, it's the house.
The house. Well, this is how the house looks like, and you all go out of your vehicles and meet on the pavement in front of it, standing there and waiting. Does anyone say anything?
Before I join the group, I would like to see if I can spot Kendra's vehicle.
No, you do not see any other car on the pavement. It's just Goldie's car that you've parked behind, and there's no other car there.
And I would regroup.
All right. So as you all stand in front of the mansion, does anyone say something?
Does Kendra drive?
She does. That's the only reason I knew where this place was, is she drove me by here once.
I don't see any other vehicles around.
Yeah, this definitely isn't on the bus line.
Who would like to knock on the door? Not it?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass.
Christopher will see Goldie's eyes.
Yeah. Goldie will look right back at Christopher with probably a similar determination.
And as you look back at the mansion towards which you plan to go and enter, there's no intercom at the gate, so no need to buzz in or anything like that. You can just go straight through the gates. But before that happens, Miles, the marble in your pocket starts to buzz again. Ripley, you do feel this overwhelming and growing feeling of something wrong going in there. And suddenly, in front of all of your eyes, including Goldie and Riot's, things in front of you change. There's darkness, dark clouds. The house looks like it's suddenly ruined, like it's way more worn down, maybe uninhabited except for the light shining on the second floor from one of the quite busted windows. There are these whispers? Voices? Maybe screams? It's like there is a presence inside and it calls to you. And as you try to focus on what is going on in there, on maybe trying to discern any sort of a message from the voices, all you can hear is a hum. All of these voices go in unison together in a hum that goes in a loud pulse, penetrates your ears, and suddenly, at least vision-wise, everything turns back to normal. But the hum, at least for a moment, persists. You can still hear it. It still goes on in your ears before suddenly fading away. You do not know exactly what is the source of the sound. It's like it emits from the air, or maybe the ground below you. It's just a sound wave that has an unknown origin and fades away. The vibration of the marble stops. The feeling inside of you, Ripley, stops as well.
Does Ripley know what this is?
No, you've never seen this.
Ripley will look to the others.
Goldie, what is your physical reaction to this? Do you look shocked?
Yeah, probably for one of the few times in Goldie's life, a definite sense of fear, blood running cold, and she probably takes a significant step back from the door.
Riot?
That sort of aloof, playful personality and persona Riot presents is dimmed a bit. They've gone quiet, eyes a little wide, and clearly shaken by what just happened.
This is no vampire stuff that you're used to. At least you think so. Are vampires capable of doing this? Some illusions? What is that?
My eyes are wide, and for a good 7 seconds, I'm practically frozen until slowly I will reach up, take the glasses off of my face, stuff them in an inner coat pocket, and slowly walk forward towards the house.
It is of no surprise to all of you, Goldie, Ripley, and Riot, that Miles is the first one walking towards... Sorry, Christopher is the first one walking towards the door. As, at least from the conversation you've had with Kendra on Discord, it seems like Christopher does that professionally. Whatever that means. Kendra said in the conversation that he works with cases like this daily or nightly. So, well, I guess we have a professional in the team. Does anyone follow Christopher?
Ripley will.
Goldie will, after taking a minute to compose themselves.
Riot?
Yeah, Riot's a little bit behind Goldie.
So Riot comes in last. Miles, how do you approach the doors? There is a bell in there, a buzzer, basically, which you can press, a button, or you can knock as well. There is a metal knocker. How do you call this thing that is on the doors?
Door knocker.
Door knocker. There we go. So there's a knocker on the doors, which is a little bit run down, a little rusty, but it's there.
I'll size up both options, look from the door to the buzzer, back to the door again, and almost gingerly I will press the buzzer.
The sound rings in your ears, quite similar to the hum that you could hear. It's like there is some underlying note below this doorbell that plays on the same frequency as the hum, and you can hear the footsteps inside, someone shuffling. There is a noise like someone is getting towards the door. And Ripley, as you brace yourself for that feeling that overwhelms you, and Miles, as you put your hand on your pocket, the door opens. And here she stands. Elizabeth Everly, the person that owns this house, which you know already. At the first glance, none of you questions the identity of this lady, as she seems to be a very much of a old woman who seems to be very much into cats. There is in fact, a big white cat on her arm that she pets softly. She has long white hair, she's dressed pretty nicely in a cashmere sort of a sweater and a long skirt. Her sweater is completely filled with cat fur that you can see on the crimson color of it. She has glasses on her nose that she probably uses for reading only, as she looks at you from over the glasses. And her whole face and demeanor seems to be very warm and welcoming. She smiles slightly and says, I'm sorry, can I help you?
We're looking for Kendra.
Oh, Kendra. Kendra Sandoval, is that? Why are you looking for her here?
She told us to meet her. You are Liz, correct?
Oh, yes, of course. I am Elizabeth Everly, the owner of this house. Could you please tell me who you are? I'm sorry, one can never be too careful these days. And she looks at all of you, just stands on her toes. She's very short and has to look up in order to look through Miles behind on all of you.
That Christopher's demeanor will change slightly. He'll become a bit warmer, and he'll step to the side to allow her to see past. Apologies, I'm Christopher. This is... I'll gesture to the rest of you.
I'm Ripley.
I am so sorry. Miranda, nice to meet you.
Goldie.
Oh, Goldie. Oh, I think Kendra told me me about you. You're the gym owner, aren't you? Right?
That'd be me.
Oh, she told me all the best things about you. Please come on in. Please come on in. I am not very prepared to have guests, so I'm sorry if the place is a little bit dirty. I haven't cleaned that much just recently, but I really hope that we can maybe talk inside, because I was raised as a person by my parents, who told me that one has to be a good host. So I will not talk to you when you're in a doorway. Please do come in. And she gestures at all of you to come in. She lets go of the cat and walks towards the depth of the house, deeper into the house. And she seems to have a little bit troubles walking. She doesn't use a cane inside of the house, but she shuffles her feet one after the other. She's pretty slow as she goes towards what seems to be a kitchen. Do you all enter?
I was going to ask if it's at all possible to roll insight to sort of gauge whether or not she's being truthful or her true self at the moment.
Absolutely. You can roll me wits plus insights. That'll be 6 dice. One success. You can use your willpower in order to roll up to 3 dice that have failures on them, if you want to.
I'd love to.
All right. You can click on your willpower in here in order to mark it red on the one of the white boxes. Or actually, you can, I think, press it twice in order for it to be red. There we go. Perfect. And you can roll 3 dice again in order to add some more successes. Alright, unfortunately we have only 2. And with that, well, she seems to be just like a regular old lady. There's nothing really special about her demeanor. She does seem to be a bit careful, withdrawn, but you're not sure if this is for any other particular reason except for the fact that there are 4 strangers walking into her house.
Christopher will let the others pass.
Ripley, Riot, Goldie. Starting with you, Goldie, what do you do after it is clear that Elizabeth has recognized your name?
Goldie will deep sigh. She does not want to go into this house after what happened. And because Goldie doesn't know Ripley's particular background, she's going to look at Riot and Ripley and say, just stay close to either me or Christopher. Okay?
Yeah, I got you.
And then she'll head inside.
And as you all walk inside, you can see a corridor, a quite big corridor with the stairs leading upstairs and the rooms on the side. There's an opening that shows a bit of a living room connected with the kitchen in the back. Now, the place seems to be a bit old, run down. It really needs a refreshing, but it's not by any means dirty or it's not like she hasn't taken any care of it. Sure, you can see some spider webs here and there. If you looked at the floor, you could see some dust, but the place seems to be still like someone lives here, like someone is trying to take some care of it. There is a broom on the side of the corridor, just waiting to wipe a little bit more dust with it. And there's a smell, and the smell is nice. It's a smell of something being baked. It's very kind of a gingery. You can feel like the maybe it's pumpkin spice sort of a thing that emanates from the kitchen towards the corridor. And Elizabeth doesn't look back as she shuffles towards the kitchen. She seems to be busy in there, and as she shuffles there. There's some movement. She yells back to you, "Oh, please take a seat here in the living room area. There's you can find the couch, the sofa, and the chairs, and you can just sit there. They are a bit old school. I know they may be not very comfortable for you kids, but I'm sure you're gonna be alright." And as you can see, yes, there is a set of a sofa and the 2 armchairs that has this floral pattern on it. It's quite ugly. You're sure that it costs a lot of money. It's pretty expensive, like kind of an English style, old school furniture. But yeah, the style is very much of a retro thing, and everything seems to be a bit dusty. Not unclean per se, just dusty and smelling of an old woman.
Does any of it seem like it's been used recently? Said it was dusty. Has the dust been disturbed, like someone has been sitting on it?
Yes, so if you look closely, you could see that one of the chairs, the one that is the closest to the window, is the one that is the least dusty. And also the pattern on it is very clearly, visibly a little bit washed out. It's like someone has been using this one armchair a lot, while the other ones are more dusty, and it doesn't seem like Elizabeth had guests recently. At least not in this room. So, Miles, do you sit down as Elizabeth asked you to?
No, I think I will start scanning. I assume there are like shelves or a mantle with like pictures or something.
Definitely. You can see there's a currently unused fireplace, but there is some coal inside and some ash. It seems like it was burning maybe just a few days ago, or maybe just yesterday, but it's not warm right now in any way. But on the fireplace you can see the pictures, and there are family pictures, most of them black and white, showing Elizabeth mostly, and or the younger person that looks like Elizabeth, with a family that looks all older than her, so the older family members. Do you look at anything closer in particular?
No, I don't think so. Not yet.
Riot, do you sit down?
Not this time. But they are gonna pull out their phone and just kind of like look at the area through the phone camera.
Ripley, what about you?
Ripley will not sit down, but Ripley's taking notes of the pictures. Like in their head, though.
Right, yeah. They all seem to be family pictures from many years ago. It's definitely nothing recent. Nothing seems to be taken in, like, you know, like the woman that you've seen just now. You cannot see the same face anywhere except for the versions of her, which are much younger. 40-year-old, 30-year-old, together with an older man who has his hands on her shoulder, finally together with 2 people, a woman and a man, the same man, this on the other picture, when she seems to be much younger, 20 something. And they seem to be like vacation photos. There's one graduation one.
Ripley will wait for the older woman to arrive.
Goldie, do you sit down?
Yeah, Goldie doesn't have nice furniture or comfortable furniture, so she won't pass up the opportunity.
Well, it's not as comfortable as it looks like. It's definitely something that would cost a lot of money if you put it on eBay or somewhere, or if you try to auction it out to rich people who want to buy old furniture and renew it. But it's just not that comfy, unfortunately.
I had to try it at least once.
The woman yells at you from the kitchen, just to wait a little bit, just wait, I'm coming. And after a bit, she comes back with a little teapot. that seems to be steaming, and little plates with small cups on it that seemingly are for either tea or coffee. And she walks to you very slowly, and her hands are shaking a little bit as she holds it all. It seems to be pretty heavy for her.
Christopher immediately goes to try to assist in some way. Take some of the plates, the saucers.
Oh, thank you so much, young man. Thank you. I don't have the same strength as I used to. But, you're so kind. Thank you. Please do put it there on the table, and I'll come in just a bit because I need to bring something to snack on. Okay? And she leaves the kitchen, and after a while, she comes back with yet another, like a baking pan this time, with the pie that she was baking apparently. And the smell is really nice. It smells like pumpkin spice, like cinnamon, maybe some ginger in it. It's just very spicy, sweet, autumny. It just a wonderful smell, and it does seem to be a little bit heavy for her as well.
Please don't trouble yourself for us. I'll go and take that as well and set it on the table.
It's okay, it's okay. It's September, and I always bake this pie in September. I don't have people to bake it for anymore, really. So I just usually give it away to neighbors and to the mailman that comes by, or to the milkman that comes by sometimes. But I'm very happy that I can finally share it with more people. So if you want to try. And she sits on the armchair that seems to be the one which is the most used, the one with a little bit of a bleak pattern and lack of dust on it. It actually fits there perfectly. It's like her armchair. She appears smaller as she sits down, and she is a little bit nervous. It seems like her hands shaking beforehand from trying to handle all these pretty heavy items and bring them to you. They seem to still shake, maybe from the cold, maybe from the stress. But as she sits down, she looks at you. She's so, how can I help you? I haven't seen Kendra today, unfortunately. So, if you're here looking for her, I'm afraid I cannot really help. But maybe we can talk.
Kendra didn't come by at all today.
Oh no, what was she supposed to? I mean, I did talk to her yesterday. In fact, we had a phone call. She was very adamant about helping me with my problem, so to speak. I don't know if she told you anything about that, but she told me she's going to come soon. She hasn't tell me the hour, but she knows that I am always here. It's pretty easy to find me. So, was she supposed to come today?
She left me a message saying that she would drop by your house.
Oh, well, she hasn't been there. Should I try calling her, maybe? I do have a landline there.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
She seems to be confused, looking left and right at other people, trying to see whether there's going to be any more information being shared with her. And she gestures towards the teapot, and she says, "Oh, please do. It's some Earl Grey if you want some for the afternoon tea. I know it's getting a little bit late outside, but maybe you would just want some tea. I don't want to pump you up, kids, with caffeine at this hour, so you don't have trouble sleeping. But I think it will fit well with the pie."
You talked about a problem?
Oh yes. But I just wanted to say, how much did Kendra tell you? Because I specifically told all of this to Kendra, and I'm not sure. I would just like to know.
She told us that you're having a problem inside your house, like a Halloween spooky type problem.
She seems to nod her head, and look left and right and say, yes, can you please tell me whether you are you friends of her or maybe co-workers? How does that really work?
I've been friends with Kendra for a few years. I can't speak for my associates.
I've known her for a good portion of my life.
Around the same. We are recently acquainted. Yeah.
Christopher will, instead of answering, go to pour tea for everyone.
Ripley will take some tea.
It's a good tea. It smells good. You can smell the specific scent of Earl Grey if you've ever had it before. It has that that particular flower that fuels the scent. It's very much you can feel it more in a better quality tea, and this is definitely a better quality tea. And the pie just smells so good. Is anyone trying the pie?
Ripley will try the pie.
It's delicious.
Was that the old lady or you?
No, it's just me. I'm the old lady, but yeah, it's just me. It is pretty delicious. You can feel it just dissolving in your tongue, and it tastes like autumn, but the good kind of autumn. The one with pumpkin spice and with pumpkins being carved on the curbs of the street, and with the Halloween decoration and like home, like trick or treating.
You guys should try the pie. It's pretty good.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a family recipe. My father used to make that one, and we always make it in September. And I always remember when we were coming back from trick or treating, it was always late, and he would always surprise us with that pie. And when we came back home, the smell would be there, and it would be just. I always wanted to have a house like this, like when you come in, you just can feel the smell, and it suddenly feels so welcoming and nice, but I guess my house is not as welcoming now anymore. And she looks at her old hands and seems to be a little bit timid about continuing.
Well, we would love to help you make it more welcoming. If you would like to tell us what exactly the problem is that Kendra was supposed to come over here and help you with.
That's okay. Well, I do trust you now that you do know Kendra, and you have this information from Kendra. I mean, I did reach out to some more people because the problem has been pretty how do you say it these days? Interrupting, changing my schedules. But I don't know how the young people talk, but I have had trouble sleeping. You see, because it seems like my house, I only use the word haunted, but that's what we used to say back in the days on the places that used to have these things happening. The same things that happen in my house now, I sometimes can hear someone walking through it, and then I go there and there's no one there. And I've checked all the windows, all the entryways, I lock my doors, I lock my windows. I'm sure that there was no breaking in, and also that I do have some valuable things in here. And she suddenly realizes what she just said, and she seems to shake a little bit, like maybe she shouldn't tell you that, but she continues. Maybe I shouldn't. I mean, I do have some valuable items here, but none of them were stolen. I've been checking them quite regularly, and I just don't know. I hear sounds. When I sleep, I sometimes feel something cold. I'm sorry. Maybe you think I'm rambling, but I'm sorry. Do you think I'm some old, like crazy old lady? Is this some intervention kind of a thing?
No. I do have a question though. Is there anywhere you could stay if we were to investigate? Like, give the place a look around, and maybe you can get a good night's sleep on top of it.
I don't have any family left, and I am not sure. I could pay for a hotel probably, but I haven't slept outside of this house for the past. Oh, how many was it? 60? Oh, it was 20. I don't remember when, but it was a lot of years that I spent here in this house. The cats, they do need me. I need to feed them, so I just never leave, really.
Well, I think everybody could use a little vacation. You should treat yourself, and there are plenty of hotels that take pets. Maybe not as many as you have. I have heard that you have quite a few cats running around this house, but we would very much like to have a look around. We don't want to take any valuables or anything. We're not interested in that. We're just interested in helping you out.
She seems to be a bit unsure, and she looks at you again. She looks sideways. She thinks. There's a moment of silence, and finally she says, "What is your interest in that? What kind of a monetary payment are we talking about? Could we make? How does this work exactly? I've never ordered Ghostbusters beforehand. I've seen the movie. Does it work like in the movie?"
Yeah, we just left our packs at home.
Your packs? What do you mean packs?
I was trying to make a joke. You know, those packs that they wear in the movie.
Oh, I don't remember the movie very well. I'm sorry.
No, it's for looking around your house and trying to help you, because that's what Kendra was wanting to do. I'll take your pumpkin pie recipe.
Oh, you can have that, sweetie, anytime. You don't have to actually do anything in my house. But
That's one old lady to another. That's all I want in payment for this. I can't speak for my associates.
oh, child, you're not old. You still have a whole life in front of you, and I was your age, all right. But what is the interest from the rest of you to be here? I assume that you know Kendra, but it is not that I was that much, I mean, I do like Kendra, but we haven't been very much in touch that much for you to care. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm too cautious. Maybe it's just, with age, people see things, people learn things, and people try to be a little bit more safe. So why exactly do you want to do this?
It's clearly what Kendra would have done and wanted, and we're all friends of hers.
She looks at you, Miles, awaiting some reassurance.
If I'm honest, this is more than I bargained for coming here. I came here looking for Kendra. That said, you seem to be in need of help. I think we can assist with that.
She nods. She seems to be in her thoughts, in her mind for a bit, and she doesn't respond immediately. Then she takes a sip of her Earl Grey, smacks her mouth, and says, "It's getting late now. I think I have to lie down. What would you say for, if you could come here again? I will prepare the house for your arrival, and I might find myself a place to stay for... how long would that be? Is a night enough? I really don't want to be out for too long."
How about two nights?
Oh, that's a lot. What about the cats?
I got a 50-pound bag of cat food. I will leave food out for the cats. Don't even worry about it.
But they need some love. They need some petting. You cannot just give them food.
Paparazzi over here, Miranda, loves cats.
I would be happy to pet some cats for you. It's absolutely fine.
Would you, sweetheart? Do remember, so this one in here, and she points out to the gray calico that is like on her side. So this one, like he likes to be scratched on the chin, but this one, and she points to the white one that is just climbing now on the kitchen counter behind her and tries to snatch the leftovers of the pie from there. This one, he doesn't like to be scratched under his chin. He prefers his ears only. And the rest of them, they do have their preferences, but they are not as strong as these two, if that's okay.
I beg your pardon, but exactly how many felines are we talking?
We're talking 8 inside, because the rest of them, they don't really like to stay inside. But we're talking plenty more outside. The number changes. I am not really sure how many of them are there nowadays, but you can for sure expect 8 of them to want to be inside, maybe 2 or 3 more depending on the night. And if so, they usually scratch the back doors, and then I just let them in.
Is anyone allergic? I'm not allergic.
I'm not.
Okay.
He would sort of be looking from person to person, trying to gauge just how everyone else is taking this.
Goldie is for sure taking it in stride, and she'll reach over and pat Christopher on the knee and say, this one here has a great skill of writing things down, I have observed. And I'm sure he would be more than happy to write down the names of all your cats, if you want to tell him, and exactly where and where they do not like to be scratched.
There is the quietest but sharpest of exhales through his nose as he very slowly reaches back into his coat, puts on his glasses, and then starts writing things down as she talks.
Goldie, with a sort of smugness, will lead back into the sofa that she's sitting on and grab a piece of pie.
And this is probably the longest part of your conversation, or at least the conversation in between Elizabeth and Christopher, who is noting down all the details that Elizabeth is listing. You have enough time to finish your pie, to finish your cup of tea, and even get a refill if you want to. While Miles, his hand is probably getting a little bit tired after all. And as it all continues, the page after page is being filled. It really takes up plenty of time. It's getting dark outside now. The sun has went below the horizon. The night has come. In between the words, Elizabeth has turned on the light, the little sort of a table lamp that is on like a ornamental table next to the sofa. And suddenly you can see the lights outside of the house, like a car is being parked in front of it, and she looks outside. Oh, I wasn't expecting more guests today, but I guess I do. Well, I will have to bid you farewell right now, but if it's okay with you, I will prepare everything. I cannot promise tomorrow, but maybe the day after tomorrow I will have everything packed up, and I can for sure give you one night. I am not sure about 2 just yet, but we can negotiate. I will come here after one day and we'll talk about whether you need more time or not. But anyway, could you come back tomorrow or in 2 days? Maybe that's gonna be safer. Is that okay?
Goldie will give her the business card and say, "You call me, and we'll be here when you need us."
And then she rushes you out of the door. It seems like she really wants to clean the table from the used glasses and plates before the new guests come in.
What kind of car is it that's pulled up?
You don't see it from the inside. You only see the lights of the car because there is plenty of bushes and foliage in between you and the outside, but the lights are very clearly visible and you can hear the door is being shut, and there's plenty of these sounds like choo, 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 choo.
Well, I think we've collected enough information. I I'm ready to go, essentially. She's like, either to Ripley or Goldie, now that they seem to be wrapped up.
We heard multiple doors, you said?
Mm-hmm. It's like you heard at least 3 sounds of doors closing.
And around what time of night is it?
It's around 8 p.m. right now. Closing at 8:30.
Christopher will say, actually, let me help you with that. And he'll go for the saucers and the pie and start ferrying it to the kitchen.
All right. Well, you seem to be stalling for time, right?
Yes.
Goldie, how do you react to that? It seems like Christopher really wants to stay.
Yeah, sort of. I think Christopher and Goldie have a pretty similar brain wavelength. Goldie is gonna try and see if there's any window nearby that she can see out of to see who is making all these car noises.
The woman seems to be pretty nervous as, well, you don't really know the reason, but it could be because she still has guests around and it's still pretty dirty, and the new guests that she doesn't know of are coming right in. But she lets Christopher help her with the Tupperware and the plates and everything, and she's like, that's okay, thank you so much, I need to check. And then the bell rings, ding ding, and she puts everything that she had in her hands in Christopher's hands, and she's, I'm so sorry, I need to check who that is. And she shuffles towards the door as quickly as she can with her big slippers and big woolen slippers and a slow walk. But as she opens the door, you cannot see who's outside, but you can hear the voice of a man that says, "Good evening, Mrs. Everly. You've called our services, and we've came as soon as we could. Could we come in for the inspection?" Ripley, you recognize this voice. You're not sure from where.
Ripley is going to shift to stand on the other side of the corner and kind of eavesdrop. Catch a glance if possible.
Liz says, "Oh, yes. Oh, well, I just had guests in, but I didn't expect you to come today. I didn't get the call back, so I'm sorry if I am not prepared for your visit, but please do come inside." And as she moves, shuffles from the door, you can see 2 people entering. There's a woman and a man. They're all dressed in identical work uniforms, very much tidy blue shirts with dark blue pants, some files in their hands, and on their chest there is a unstitched logo on the shirt with a M on it. Miles, you've seen this M somewhere beforehand. You do believe it was at the bottom of the letter that Christopher has received in his mail.
Monster X.
The M from that logo. Ripley, as the people come in, you have a good glance at their faces as they come into the light of the living room. You do not recognize the woman, but you do definitely recognize the man. The man who is called Gregory.
Lovely.
They both look at all of you with frowned eyebrows. They don't seem to have expected anyone else but Elizabeth. And finally, Greg's eyes land on yours, and he frowns even deeper. It's like he didn't recognize you at first.
Ripley frowns even more.
Would Gregory know you under another name?
Yes.
He doesn't say anything, and the woman on his side says, I am sorry, have you been holding some kind of a party? Are we interrupting?
A little bit. Yeah.
And Liz just looks at him and you and him and you and oh no, these are my friends, my friends, and they've been really willing to also help me with the problem. So yeah, basically we are having a little bit of a chat on what we could do to solve this thing. And they both frown, looking at you. The woman looks at you, Ripley, then looks at you, Goldie, then at Miles and Riot, and says, well, that's not going to be needed anymore. We're going to handle this matter professionally. It seems like she's taken a note of your faces.
You're gonna handle what professionally?
Gregory interjects in the conversation. That doesn't matter. We are on a schedule. We need to run. Can we please start the inspection, Miss Everly? And Liz, to that, nods her head. She seems to be a bit intimidated by their presence, and she rushes you all outside. She's like, oh, just, it's okay, we're going to see each other tomorrow, please. I have your business card, Goldie. Thank you so much for coming. I'm just going to handle this situation with the gentleman and the lady, and we're going to, I'm going to call you.
Goldie will allow her, with, I assume, in a very frail way, to usher her out of the house, but she's not going to take eyes off of the man.
Ripley will leave, but continues to stare at the two.
Gregory's eyes follow you, Ripley, up until you leave the place. For all this time, he doesn't lose a sight of you. Riot?
I was just gonna say, like Goldie and Ripley, just keeping eyes on them as they exit.
Miles, do you still want to stall, or what's your approach?
Miles moves with the others. Instead of focusing on the trio that just entered, he focuses on Liz and says, Mrs. Everly, are you sure? It's very late in the evening.
Oh yes, I'm sure. I called for them. It was all. I didn't know that it's going to be so late, but it's okay. I don't go to sleep at this hour anyway. I will see you tomorrow. And she rushes you outside.
I'll allow it.
And as you all go out, the sky is now darker, shade of navy. And when you go through the gates, through the garden of Elizabeth Everly, you can see a car standing outside, a big van, pretty new van, a very sort of a new model, with another person standing next to it, who also is dressed in a uniform and is currently smoking a cigarette. The man only looks at you, doesn't get involved in any conversation, and as you pass next to the car to get to yours, and you pass next to the van with a big M on it, Ripley, you can feel a weird feeling overwhelming you again for just a moment. And Miles, you can feel the pulsing of the marble. And this is where we're going to end today. Thank you so much for joining me for the session 1 of Hunter Garage, Hunter the Reckoning Chronicle, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.